Ladies and gentlemen, I am thrilled to introduce the 2015 winner of the Pro Musicis International Award, pianist Gaspard Dehaene. He is a pianist, as I say, and what's so interesting about Pro Musicis, and we've talked about this in the previous episodes, is that there is a competition in New York and there is a competition in Paris. And Gaspard is French, and he participated in the competition in Paris and won in Paris. So it's indeed an international music award. So welcome, Gaspard. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you very, very much for hosting me and welcoming me.
It's a real pleasure. Yes, you know, we're all part, you know, the series is called Pro Musicis, a family of artists, and that's what we really are. You know, the competition, as you know, goes back to the mid-1960s when Father Merlet founded it. And indeed, the winners and the competition itself has something that's even more than just winning just an ordinary competition. There's indeed a very spiritual element and a community element that we share as winners that meant so much to Father Merlet, who devoted his life, as we all know, to the mission of this competition. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you studied, and how you were first introduced into Pro Musicis, and how the process went for you to eventually winning the international award?
Well, so I come from a city in the west of Paris. I grew up as a really lucky child, I would say. I was playing the piano as my parents thought that it was something obligatory for the education. As my mother is pianist, of course, it helped a bit as well. But I was also completely fond of tennis, so I grew up somehow shared between two passions. And first of all, it was more about tennis in my life, but still playing a bit of piano every day. And sometimes I was really, really fond of some works. And one day, some work, the ballad, Chopin Ballade Number 4, literally took me somehow and or chose me, or I don't know how to say that, but I felt like destiny took me and I wanted to become a pianist, and then so I went to the Paris Conservatoire.
How old were you when you heard the F minor ballade, and what specific performance inspired that feeling?
It physically made me, I don't know how to say in English, the goosebumps, no?
Goosebumps, yes.
Yeah, so I had this feeling.
You know, I mean, just that. I mean, I haven't played it in years, but just the opening there's something so hauntingly beautiful about that, and what a wonderful first piece, like you talk about, to give you goosebumps like that. You know, it's something. You know.
Yeah. Even nowadays, I think somehow it was a good choice. It can be arrogant to say that, but I still love so much this ballad. And I played it, of course, many times since that day, and it still actually gives me some things really special. So then from now, actually, then things went quite, I would say, in an ordinary way, although it's never ordinary when you get into, when your life get into music and you have to dedicate yourself. It's each pattern, I would say, or each way, it's completely unique from that day you choose to get into music.
So how old were you then when you heard the F minor ballade?
Sorry, I was 16.
And then so where did you go on to study?
So then I went to Paris Conservatoire of region, not the national one. With my teacher, which was a pupil of my mother, Annelise Gastaldi. Then I went 3 years after that, at the age of 19, 20, I went into the national CNSM, National Conservatoire National Supérieur de Musique de Paris, with Bruno Rigotto, Denis Pascal. And then I went to Salzburg, and in between, actually, when I was in Salzburg, I heard about this competition, which was something new to me, because I knew that you had to play, of course, some particular pieces in order to show what kind of musician you are, how educated. So you had to play Bach, romantic piece, study also. But there was also this special this you had also to talk, and this was to introduce either one piece of your program or your instrument, but you had to show how can you talk being on stage before or after playing, but something more like a plus, a human plus, would I say, um, in order to help the listener to
Indeed.
also share some human moments. Like not
Yes.
you are the listener and I am the musician, so I will play, you will listen, and that's the only thing. No, I am Gaspard. You are whoever you are, but you are someone with who I want to share something.
Right.
So I'm gonna play this, and this is what I want to say about this piece before playing it. And this was an exercise that I really, really enjoy. And I would even say that even I discovered myself uh, somehow a passion about also sharing words with the audience. And of course, it has to be words concerned with the program, but.
Were you at the Mozarteum when you were studying in Salzburg?
Yes, I went also with a French teacher, Jacques Rouvier. And this was also an international experience that I really enjoyed because it was really like a small melting pot. And Paris Conservatoire was great, but it was interesting to see also how in this country of music that Austria is, where Mozart was born.
Sure.
Of course, it had to be interesting, and it has been.
Do you find, though, studying in that tradition, playing that literature, and being at the Paris Conservatory and being at the Mozarteum, studying with a French teacher, that the emphasis was on beauty of sound and legato and beautiful colors, which is very much associated with the school of French playing?
Hmm. Well, I, in my opinion, of course, this is really, really important, but I would not say that it has to be the main thing in interpreting a piece. I think the intensity of the speech. To me, music has to speak, and of course, in French music, there is more about painting sometimes. But I think with the piano, especially as the hammer hits the string, you can deal, you can really show some interesting thing about the talking.
Different literature requires different types of touch,
Yeah,
depending on the
exactly.
lyric. When you speak of French pianists, I think of people like Michel Béroff and
Hmm.
Jean-Aflame Bouvuzet and a younger generation. And what's so interesting is, and what's so important, I think, as a pianist, as an artist, is that we each have our individual personality injected into the interpretation and to the approach of the piece of music that we're playing, so that what we say is clearly unique among each person, that it's not just something that is, 12 people play the exact same way, but it's your own personality, your sound that is superimposed on top of interpreting the music, with always the music being number one. We're there to serve the music. We're there to interpret the music the way that we think that it's supposed to be interpreted. So in that respect, it gives us this unique interpretation and approach. And thank goodness it is that way, because wouldn't it be boring if everybody played the same?
When you play with the true love of music, and you worked, of course, you practiced enough and you thought enough about the piece you are playing, I think that somehow there is space for everybody, every human being that achieved his interpretation, and still the truth, the genius of the composer can be
Comes through.
still there. Yes, I don't know if I'm clear, but
You're very clear, and the individuality comes out. That is a lifetime study to find that individuality without ever really overtaking or superimposing your own personality onto the geniuses that we are interpreting. And that comes through listening and studying and developing a style within yourself, but always in the back, always to serve the music. We as interpreters are secondary. It is the music, it is the composers that we honor. Now, tell me, to get back to something we were talking about earlier, tell us the process. So you found out about Pro Musicis.
and at that time, which I find a nice story for me, I was a bit bored about competitions. I was shared between my flame, I mean, for music, meaning I wanted to study and to learn new pieces, to improve. But on the other hand, I had to make competitions because that's one way
Sure.
to get into the profession. And but this Pro Musicis competition was so special that the fact that I could also speak about music. I remember the piece I present was Oiseau Triste from Maurice Ravel, and it is, of course, first of all, it's a masterpiece. And the interesting thing is that as I talked about it, I was even more involved.
Relaxed. Did you play the F minor ballade?
And not this time,
Have you
but
played the Have you played
I
the
will.
Have you played the F minor ballade in any of your Pro Musicis programs?
I will play it on the 9th of February next on the platform, live streaming platform, which
Where?
is named
Where?
recithall.com. And the concert will physically take place in Paris, in Collège des Bernardins. But because of the virus, we, of course, cannot have any audience. And this is a part of a program that will be of a CD that I just recorded.
After Father Merlet died, we winners were doing projects instead of community service concerts, or doing both outreach concerts. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those things that you've done?
Yes, of course. Well, through Pro Musicis, I could play of course, in many places where I could meet some people that were not lucky enough in life to be able to find out what is classical music, what is to experience a live concert. And it had been in a school for handicapped kids. It had been also in retirement houses.
Because this mission that we're talking about right now was so important to Father Merlet. This was one of the reasons he founded Pro Musicis, is to bring his artists into places where people don't ordinarily hear music.
Once you start to talk and play, there is an excitation. I would say this word, because you can really see this joy, that you can really see that the people you have in front of you, they are living something exceptional, which doesn't cannot be compared to any other day in their life. And I feel at that time that I have a huge power, which is a beautiful one, um,
Mm.
to help. And it feels like I am getting paid in with just great feelings and just sharing,
You're
because
getting paid with the universal emotion of love.
yes, sorry, I would not have said it better than you, but that's what I wanted to say, because you feel it through your body that um, actually you are. I am lucky enough that I could play music and study in the conservatoire and live
Indeed.
off my with my passion. And somehow I think that the human tribute that I have to pay back is this one. It's
Indeed.
not to,
Beautiful.
um, of course, to do concerts and I mean, having this profession makes also people happy, but those people can come. So when I come to people that can't go to the concert, um, I feel that the truth is that I am honoring back the luck that I received.
You're
So
giving, it's a way of giving back. And
yes,
this is exactly what Father Merlet wanted. Unfortunately, you probably, since you won in 2015, you never met him. Is that correct?
no, yeah, this is correct.
But you've
I
certainly
never
heard a
had
lot
the
of
chance.
you've certainly heard a lot about him through other winners. We all, I've not talked to a Pro Musicis artist that, I mean, we all feel so fortunate to win this prize because of its uniqueness, and how it gives back, and how the vision of Father Merlet inspires every single one of the artists that have been in this family for decades. So have you played in New York? Have you played your Weil Hall debut?
Yes, yes, yes. This was an amazing experience, and the whole staying in New York was uh, an amazing uh, stay, because I went out of New York, and I went to Newark,
Mm-hmm.
um, in this school with many children that
All
came
right.
from
Your
yeah, I
community
don't
service,
remember the name of the school.
your community service concert. Yes.
Yes, and this was as usual. It sounds a bit ridiculous to say as usual, because there is no habit about such encounters, such a meeting. And but I was so I played there, and I was amazed by the kids' question. Uh, and then, of course, a few days later, I also went to play in Wild Hall in Carnegie Hall, which was uh, I would have. It was more than a dream come true, of course, because as I discovered my real passion for music at the age of 16, the Carnegie Hall was something not only far in a geographical way, but to be so young and be able to live such a moment
Beautiful.
was great, really
Now,
great. And
have you also played at the Salle Cortot in Paris?
yes, I did as well. That was in 2017, and Carnegie Hall was in 2018.
Now, if you were to go to a desert island, what performance would you want to take with you to listen to? If it's on video, that would be great. If there's something on video that inspires you, it can be any genre.
Well, right now, this is okay. You are asking me now, so I would tell you that I would bring with me any CD from Cortot playing Chopin.
So we can get a taste of your beautiful artistry. What can you share with us so we can see you in all your, so you can shine in all your glory? What's a performance that you're especially proud of that we can see that's available?
Well, on YouTube, there is the Auf dem Wasser zu singen from Schubert,
Okay, sure.
transcribed by Liszt,
The list
which was
transcription.
the video clip of my last CD.
Alors, le programme s'articule avec deux hommages. Un hommage de Liszt à Schubert avec deux transcriptions de Lieder, et aussi un hommage personnel à mon grand-père, Henri Kefelec, grand écrivain de la mer, qui aimait passionnément la musique, et particulièrement Schubert. L'un de ses romans, Quand la terre fait naufrage, a été la source d'inspiration de Rodolphe Bruno-Boulmier. Il a écrit cette pièce et il me l'a dédiée, elle porte le même titre. Il y a trois voyages qui se distinguent dans le disque. Voyage à travers les terres avec la mélodie hongroise de Schubert, le Lied Aufenthalt et la Rhapsodie espagnole de Liszt, morceau qu'il a écrit après une tournée de concerts en Espagne et au Portugal. Voyage à travers les mers, Auf dem Wasser zu singen et Quand la terre fait naufrage. Et enfin, le voyage le plus mystérieux, le voyage du temps, le temps de la vie. Quand Schubert écrit sa sonate Deutsch 959, il est à 2 mois de mourir. Pour compléter l'hommage à mon grand-père Henri Kefelec, j'ai décidé d'ajouter 4 citations dans le livret du disque, de livres que j'ai beaucoup aimés et qui me paraissent convenir parfaitement à la thématique poétique du disque.
lastly, what have you learned in this last year going through this unique event of this pandemic and seeing the suffering and the disappearance of live music? What do you think is going to happen, and how has it changed you?
Well, I still want to dream about bringing music where I can. That can be in concert hall or in like retirement houses. So I'm still, of course, I still have this flame for music, and I can't believe that that this would not be possible again. So I'm
I
hoping,
agree.
and
Have you found that your inspiration has, your motivation to practice, your inspiration has diminished a little bit throughout the year, not having goals to meet as in performances or things like that?
well, it became a bit different. The motivation. So I discovered again the beauty, the passion of studying, like having time to do scales, to study harmony again, to listen to music also in a peaceful way. Like I discovered, I listened to the whole Ring from Wagner. Listened many times to Péléas and Mélisande of Debussy, Tristan and Isolde. I took time also to experience long music, and also I also still have some projects. So I've been also playing with singers. I have a duet with mezzo soprano. Well, so music is still big,
So
even
you
with
have you
without
have made good. So you're saying you have made very good use of your time over this year. Is that correct? You've not been late. You have not gotten
this is what I
lazy,
tried,
so to speak. Yes, it's hard.
because when I was lucky enough to have let's say too much concerts in some periods, I was complaining about, okay, I would love to read this, I would love to sight read these sonatas, I want to get informations from Liszt or Chopin, or relationship between them, or I want to study again harmony, I want to do scales. And
Beautiful.
when you have too much concerts, you just practice your
Can't do
programs.
that. So you're going to come. So you're going to come out of this experience a more well-rounded musician and also more well-rounded person for all the studying and time that you've given
I hope.
in a very peaceful way. You've not been rushed. You've had your time to digest music, to do things that you wouldn't have the time to do before. And that, what a wonderful way to spend this time. And it's very inspiring to hear you say that, because there's wonderful lessons to be learned in what you're saying, because it takes discipline and real true love to do what you're doing, to self-motivate yourself like that. I take my hat off to you for that. So
thank you.
Gaspard, I just want to thank you again for spending this time with us and being a part of Pro Musicis family of artists. You know, and every artist that I speak to is so special in their own unique way. And as I talk to more and more of the artists, it just makes me even more proud to be in that family of artists. And talking to you today has just made me feel so proud of the Pro Musicis organization, and to thank God for Father Merlet, who had this vision all those years ago to bring us together like this, to indeed be Pro Musicis family of artists. Thank you very much, Gaspard, for spending this few minutes with us.
That was my pleasure and my honor. Thank you.